What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rogue One 6. We are doing we're doing a new live. We're doing a live with kind of talking about May the 4th stuff. And I know we already did it. Jason and I already covered all this stuff, but we wanted to get the guys together and just kind of feel out like what you guys think. Tony, Parm, Nathan, thanks for being with us. And we'll just kind of talk through everything that kind of came out. I don't think we'll hit everything again. I think there's just too many things. We can try. I mean, if there's other stuff we don't talk about that you guys want to chat about, that's fine. If anybody in the chat wants to bring up anything, that's fine. But we're going to talk about some of the main bigger stuff, I think, is what we're going to do today. So thanks for being with us. And how's everybody doing today?
Yeah, good.
You guys good?
It's been a while.
It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a minute. But yeah, I think, how'd you guys feel about May the 4th? How'd you feel that went down?
I mean, for me, every day Star Wars Day, so I don't get too kind of embroiled in the whole May the 4th thing, but
there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, from a kind of announcement.
Previous years,
from an announcement perspective, it was a heavy hitter, for sure.
It's crazy. I mean, Nathan, look at your poor mug. Just like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, I watched your live stream the other day, and like you said, I'm gonna have to cut a lot of hair.
You're gonna get carpal tunnel from cutting hair.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, luckily there was only like one or two that I really wanted.
Yeah.
And another one like a few days before. So, but yeah, well. I know we'll get into that, but yeah.
The thing is, we had celebration announcements, and then not long after we had May the 4th. It seems like a lot hit since we last spoke, which was probably
exactly.
Yeah, so if we take into account celebration and May the 4th, there's been a plethora of releases and announcements, which it's exciting if you're for a collector. It's worrying if you're a collector. It's
there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a
hell of a lot. So anyway, we're going to be going through it. We'll see what's what. And anything real before we get into stuff. Any of you guys pick up anything fun that you want to chat about?
I picked up it was a few weeks ago now. I did get hold of an MR AT-AT, which I've been after to be honest with you, I've been after one for years. And fortunately, John Simmons contacted me last year and said that he was going to put his up for sale. And his is a bit unique because he's repainted his, and I'd seen it in his collection before, but just never thought he would ever put it up for sale. But he just sort of contacted me last year and offered it to me, so I sort of bit his hand up really, and then went up a few weeks ago to pick it up, which was traveling back with it was fun because it wasn't in its original packaging. So I had to travel across country for 6 hours. And those that have the MR AT-AT will know how fragile that is.
It is, yeah.
It was a grail piece for me.
Tony, when you put that up, I immediately thought to myself that we're twinsies because we both have the same MR AT-AT. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's I understand. I've talked to Jason a bunch of times about this. It's not the most like accurate thing in the in the galaxy. It doesn't, it is what it is, but I freaking love it. I think it's such an amazing his piece of history in terms of collectible pieces, right? I just love it.
Yeah. I think I just think it's a great size as well. I mean, there's some other options out there, but I don't think I've seen. I mean, I like I went with the same. I think you've got the walking one as well, the mirror base one. I prefer it where it looks like it's in motion, and then with John's paint finish on it as well, it just sort of takes it up. A couple.
Because he finished it even more than that.
He repainted it,
which is I'm sure fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But I loved the original anyway, so there wasn't. It was. But it was. It'd been something I've been searching for years. I mean, we speak about it quite a lot. Just be patient when you're trying to find things. But I did. I almost acquired one early last year as well, but just missed it. I mean, they do pop up. But
They do, yeah.
The problem with them is they are just really fragile. I mean, I know a lot of them arrive broken because there's a mixture. The weight, the distribution of the weight of them. If you ever pick it up, it's weird because the legs are resin, the body's resin, and then there's like probably like it feels like polystone or something underneath the body where the engines are.
And also, people don't understand that it's like actually like screwed into the base. Like it's like it's you know, it's got a weird way of and if you
got to get underneath it, haven't you? Yeah.
And if you get the box, if you get it with all the box in, which I have the box with all the stuff and everything, how it was shipped originally, that I bought it from someone, and like it's packed really weird. Like the way they packed it was
he's
super
like
strange.
upside down.
Yeah, it's like upside down and all this.
Everything.
It's crazy, man. Like I you know, unpacking was a freaking nightmare, but it's amazing. It's an amazing piece.
Yeah, I mean, I was I mean, I was having a laugh with John about it really because he put it on top of a sofa cushion.
Yeah,
and I was like, is this really gonna hold it? But it did. I mean, he knows he knows. You know, he handles models all the time. So, but when I was driving back, I was sort of slowly looking in the back of the car, and you could see it sort of moving around a bit. And I was like, oh no.
Oh my.
I don't think AT-ATs have good shock systems either.
Yeah. So it's one of those pieces. Once you get it, and you've got it on your display, it just stays there. You don't really want to touch it, but super over the moon to have acquired that, and really thankful John sold it to me really. So, but yeah, that's probably it for me for a while, I think, in terms of big pickups.
Good for you, man. That's a fantastic pickup. That's awesome. Anybody else pick anything up? Nathan, did you get any Hot Toys in?
Yeah, I got the Dark Side Anakin.
Oh, that's right.
Which is pretty good. You know, well, when we were on last time, I just got the Light Side Anakin in. This
is there
one's
any difference other than the heads, or?
Not really, no. But the difference in the heads is a lot.
Like, which is better?
It looks more like Anakin. It looks like Hayden Christensen, whereas the other one was like it was better. It was better than the previous one from a few years back. But I wasn't like blown away by it. Whereas this one, I was like, whoa, it's crazy. It's like next level. And then you've got the Sith eyes, and it's a lot. Yeah, I'm very, very pleased with it. Also got Galen Erso, which I was pleasantly surprised about.
Yeah, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that? Does it look really good?
It looked really good. Yeah, like it wasn't too short to expect because I thought he looks quite a bland figure, and it is quite basic. It's just a guy in a uniform and stuff. But it's very good.
Nathan, you have the other Rogue One figures or not?
I've got Jin and a few.
I mean, he can be paired with Krennic in that outfit too.
Oh, I got Krennic as well. Yeah, I've got Krennic. Well, I've got them all. I've got Krennic, Thrawn, Tarkin, and now Galen all in one.
Yeah, just put Galen in the back, kind of like crying, like put his hands up.
This is technically, I don't want to say like bad Galen or evil Galen, but this is when he's full working on Death Star, right?
He's working.
He's on the Empire payroll, isn't he? So
he's sort of
it's on the payroll,
working with them. So I'm very really pleased with that one. That's the one. I went to Liverpool Comic Con last weekend, and it was very very cool.
Cassian?
Sorry,
is it dressed as Cassian?
Yes, dressed as Cassian. Cassian
/ Anakin / Solo.
Yeah. But I met. I had a picture with Hayden, which was really cool. But I met Rosario Dawson and Iman Estefani, the guy that plays Ezra in Ahsoka. I got them to sign a new print that I bought, which is I've just got put up displayed, which is pretty cool. They were both really cool.
Nice.
So I got that. Got a couple of bits from the con, but obviously, as we all know, conventions can be expensive on their own, so I didn't want to spend too much whilst I was there.
Yeah, well, no kidding.
But
Get that.
it was my birthday last week, so I got some
Nathan.
Lego.
Nathan, nobody cares, dude. Nobody cares about you. No, I'm just kidding. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. That's awesome, man. Do you want to tell everyone how old you became, or do you not want to do that?
Don't tell us. We don't want
Yeah,
to.
well, it's going to hurt our feelings, but you probably should. I mean,
Well, I guess, I feel old, but amongst you guys, I'm probably I was 33.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Congratulations.
The
So
other
you
day
still don't.
made it sound like you were turning 23. Come on.
So Nathan, your back still feels like a normal back. Is what you're telling me.
It's getting there, you know. being a hairdresser, hunched over all the time.
30 period now where you'll start to get some twinges now, Nate.
Yeah. Well, cutting hair all day, hunched over, doesn't help.
You're getting all the irreversible things that will haunt you later in life.
You'll sneeze and then you'll be carried out on a stretcher.
Exactly.
So even I was building some of my Lego earlier, and I stood up after about half an hour of sitting down, and I was like, oh, just sort of just oh, my legs. So it's getting to that point. But
It gets worse and worse.
The worst is you're just a few more years away from if you're sitting on the floor building Legos and you get up, it's not that it hurts to get up, but you're lightheaded because you've been cutting off the circulation in your little legs. And you're
You gotta sit back down.
Dude, just the other day, Jason was on the phone with me and he was talking about carrying his daughter, and he was like, my back is killing me. And I was like, yeah, well, it's.
Dude, I was icing it before I got on.
It's crazy, dude. It's freaking ridiculous.
Oh, no.
Anyway, congratulations, Nathan. Happy birthday. It's really, really cool that I mean, look, you've got a lot to be excited about. Everybody does. There's a lot of good things that came out, but Hot Toys, man, it's
crazy, isn't it?
It's just amazing. It really is.
How many just over the last since celebration of May the 4th, what 25 releases, something like that, or it feels
I don't know about that many, but
a lot. Not
maybe
20.
about 10. Well, no, I don't know.
Because they're releasing and pre-ordering, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so including releases and everything, I guess.
Well,
so.
It feels like every morning you get a new Hot Toys notification.
It's absolutely true. It's crazy. And then the May the 4th thing came, and they just dumped 10 figures or whatever it was. It's just unbelievable. It's crazy.
It seems to be that they're focusing so much on the Star Wars license and nothing else.
Yeah,
you don't really see
that's what I was
releasing.
thinking.
Well, the Marvel's not exciting right now. It's just not exciting for people right now.
There's that's what I thought the other day. It was fair enough. May the 4th, you're going to do Star Wars stuff, but even the week before they released Palpatine, Episode 3 Palpatine, and a few others, and it was we're just getting Star Wars, and it's just
it's weird that it seems off balance. Mm-hmm.
Well, again, when Nathan, you know this, when we had a 6-scale basically only show,
it was the other way around, right?
Yeah, we were trying to scrape and find anything we could to do the show with.
Yeah, because during May the 4th, they were always dropping Marvel.
Yeah. Endgame, freaking
consistent amount of releases.
All that stuff.
They'd be like, "Oh, it's Star Wars Day. Let's have a Batman."
That's right.
Multiple Spider-Mans, Iron Man,
Iron Man, and then finally something, and then another Endgame figure. It's crazy. So yeah, now it's quite the opposite. I feel like, which is amazing. I mean, the guy that owned what is it? Howard Chan, I think, isn't.
Yeah, he's
a big Star Wars fan. So he's probably happy that that's what's happening, and it's really cool. It's just a lot for people like Nathan to have to deal with. So I feel bad, but anyway, not that bad. Let's go on to the next thing. This is something I'm super excited about. So it was really cool to see really cool to see Sideshow come out with their premium format. We've been seeing it over the last 6 months or whatever however many months that they've been kind of giving us a peek at this, but we've not seen it until now.
Mhm.
And they revealed it on May the 4th. Obviously it's a little bit both sides of, there's people on both sides of this thing. I think the price doesn't help for that in that sense, but even the concept, some people don't like the concept as much, some people like it. It is what it is. So I kind of wanted us to talk through this. I'm very excited about this piece. I've been very close to ordering this thing several times already, but I'm trying to be patient and just hold off until I know for sure, and also on top of it, just like until we see the ES or something like that. So give myself a little bit more time to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very.
They haven't announced an edition size, right? They haven't
yet. No, they haven't yet. I can't imagine it's going to be huge. I just can't. I can't see a shit ton of people ordering this. I think it's going to be. I think it's probably going to be fairly small in my opinion, but just hearing what I've heard from people, but I don't know. Anyway, this Parminder, we had something else to bring up for this, but you wanted to talk about the kind of concept.
Yeah, because I mean, when I saw the concept artwork originally when they were teasing it, I was really excited, primarily because this is, pretty much the image that we saw on the Kenner card back for the X-Wing Luke figure. So I was really interested to see how this would turn out on a premium format, right? And obviously now they've revealed it. It looks like they've executed it very well. Slightly different from the concept sketch, because I think obviously in this particular image, he's not facing all the way around,
right?
Which would make this a little bit more difficult to display. If you were going to display the X-Wing against a back, you wouldn't really then see, Luke facing towards you.
And that,
and I think that for me throws it off a little bit. The executed piece, I think it looks like he's just looking a little bit too far around.
You're right. I think it's really tough for Sideshow in this instance. How do you put something like this out where even the X-Wing can be against the wall and still have it look good, right? How do you do that? And I think they had to make it to where he's turning more. I think they also had to make it so that his entire body isn't on the ladder for the weight distribution,
right? So
that they could actually get the weight distributed right and have another point of contact on the bottom. Because I think they talked. I think Tested did a video and they talked through this whole thing with Savage, and it was really fascinating. If you have a chance to, if anybody has a chance to watch that, they should. Adam Savage did that video. It was really, really good. And they talked through the cut and sew of everything. They talked through like the weight distribution, all that stuff. It's really good. I'm going to show
well thought out, for sure. Very well thought out, very well engineered.
Very well thought out. I'm going to show this real quick. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. So this is the actual video,
and that's the thing. You can see in this how far around he's looking, and I think when you switch from one image to the other, this just looks a little bit awkward to me. Now, if I hadn't seen the concept sketch,
right,
this would seem okay, but when you switch between the two, it just
you're right. His chest isn't. His head's turned a little too much from a physiological perspective.
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, I would argue
here,
I would argue that I would argue that any of us can turn our head and look like this, right? Where we got our hands on a ladder and something happens and we turn around, we can do this. It's not like it's
it doesn't
not
completely
right.
break it. No, it doesn't.
But I hear from the concept image, it's not the same. And I agree with you. They even showed the image that's like famous for this, where he's like actually on the like Mark Hamill's on the ladder looking, and it's not the same.
No.
Again, I think they had to do this for display purposes. Indeed. You just can't. It's already. I mean, look how big this piece is. It's crazy how big this piece is. It's huge.
The pick is deceiving. This is a large piece.
It's huge. It really is. And so, I don't know. I just think this is, the more I look at it, the more I see it, the more I'm like, wow. Like,
oh yeah, this would be a centerpiece, for a lot of people.
It's really impressive. I mean, the
it tells a story, doesn't it?
The likeness is great in my opinion. It's very good. It's I don't mind the cut and
very good.
sew. I don't mind the I usually am a sculpted guy with all the but there's not a flowing cape or a flowing something. It in my opinion, you don't have to pose any sort of anything with the material. So I think it looks really good.
Sideshow statues were always mixed media. When they brought out the premium
Right.
format line back in the early 2000s, they've always
Yeah, that
been
was
mixed
common for
media.
them. Yeah.
Yes.
It's only, I think a trend that we've seen more recently where they've kind of approached it, where they do sculpting more of it. But I've always liked the mixed media element of Sideshow statues. I think it's always worked. And again, if you've got lots of other Sideshow statues, this will then fit in very well with those because they're all going to be essentially mixed media.
Well, and I do understand the criticism of like, hey, I don't know if I like this floating X-wing thing. I've heard some absolutely stupid comments, like ridiculous comments from people that it's hard to think people are as dumb as they are in some ways when I read through comments. I shouldn't be surprised, but there's people that are like, I'd rather just have the whole X-wing. And it's like, are you an idiot? Are you an actual stupid human being? Because that's not possible. Like the size would be unbelievable in quarter scale. Like, are you stupid? Like look at the size of this panel already. Next to them. I mean, look, when you see them standing next to it and you see the actual size of this thing, you can understand that like an actual full size.
Yeah, it's the size of the entire torso. Look,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. The way. I mean, I was just listening to the comments earlier. I think Sideshow are ultimately the way we're looking at that now. That is its prime display option, really, straight ahead,
sure,
facing against the wall, maybe. But they've given you that sort of extra detail on the X-wing if you do put it into like a central display.
Yeah.
But if you've got Luke facing, slightly turning to his left, then that sort of throws the statue from having a straight on. And I think
for sure.
To have it this big, you really want to be looking at it. I think this is really the way you want to be looking at it. I think. I mean, hats off to Sideshow. It's an incredible engineer. If they can pull it off,
I know.
It's a fantastic engineering,
yeah,
achievement, and it's a wow piece, isn't it? I mean, everybody that's into collecting has been talking about it. It's been on loads of forums. I mean, Sideshow wanted, whether the comments are negative or positive, it's had loads of social media posts, and 9 times out of 10 they've been extremely positive.
And it won't have this clear rod.
No, it's a prototype, isn't it? So
right.
that will be. It's not obviously because of this. I'm not going to be getting this piece because
size is crazy.
Yeah, because of the size. But I've got XM Luke, and if you get it, Matt, I'd be really interested to see what you think, because I still think XM Luke is like the Luke statue because he's in the snow speeder costume. But
I've said this many times. I don't think XM Luke is going to be surpassed in the way how I feel about it. I think this piece is going to be pretty incredible, but I don't necessarily think it's gonna surpass that piece. That's not why. I can understand people saying I have that piece, so I don't need to get this. I totally get it. It's fine. I'm a light side person. I'm not going to get another Vader. I'm not going to get another I'm not going to get Palpatine. I don't give a shit. I don't want another Maul. I want light side characters. And so when especially Luke comes out like this and is really well done, in my opinion, and has, it's just a very amazing, like interesting piece. It's hard for me not to just be like, I really want to get this thing, right?
The only thing that I would have loved to have seen, and I think because I just think he looks better, is an option with the helmet on. I know it's going to break all sorts of not canon, but
right.
Tony, I said the same thing on last Sunday. I said if they had a swap out, especially with the price, it would be reasonable. Not that I'm trying to justify, but with or without, if they had a swap out where they had one head holding the helmet in the one where you have the helmet on, that would be that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think what I know what they're going for. They're going for that iconic scene as he looks just before he gets into, climbs into the X-wing, and I get it, and it tells a great story.
I agree, Tony. You know what? You know what I'll say though is that I'm really happy that the likeness is
very good. Yeah.
It's very good. I can't say that it's 100% necessarily, but no likeness is really 100%. It's tough to get that, but it's
and Mark,
really,
we talk about
really
this all
good.
the time. Mark especially is harder to get than most.
Yeah,
it just is.
Yeah. I think also the fact that they're not, that head isn't going to be polystone, and I think they're they changed that a few years ago, didn't they, with the human likenesses? So
yeah,
some of the, I've got the old Return of the Jedi Sideshow Luke. You've got to really squint on that to sort of get Luke's likeness. So this is very good. It's really it's really good.
You can open and close this canopy. So if you don't have the space,
I didn't know that.
if you don't have the space to keep this open, you can close it, which is really cool.
I like it open. It looks good open, but yeah, if you've got
on the inside as well, I thought it was pretty cool.
It looks really great open. It's one of those things where if you don't have the space to open it up, what are you going to do?
Sure.
You just got to keep it closed, and that's okay. It's cool that the whole back is actually a piece that you could walk around this thing. You could put it in the middle of somewhere and actually walk around and be impressed. I like
this. I was just thinking, just imagine having like a dedicated Luke Skywalker display where you've got this, you've got an RS helmet, you've got a Graflex hilt, you've got maybe a studio scale X-wing, which would be a lot smaller, obviously, compared to this. And,
or even the Graflex that they use in the X-wing with the black.
That's right. Yeah.
That too. Yeah, that would look great.
Yeah, that would be cool. And I just visualize that in my head. What an amazing! You'd need a ton of space for it, right? But that would just make a real kind of Luke Skywalker.
You would, and I'm starting to, because I'm actually thinking about picking this piece up, which is, I understand the price is ridiculous. I just have, a hard time not getting this piece because I think it's incredible. I'm still thinking about it, but I'm thinking about where I would put it. And I've thought several times about like, how cool would it be to bring that XM Luke piece down, put it next to near it. And then in between them, maybe even put that RS, the RS, helmet that matches this. And then on top of that, you could put, there's all kinds of, there's all kinds of really, there's all kinds of things you could do. Like you said, it'd be really cool. I don't know, dude. No,
it's cool. And I've always loved the outfit, and orange really pops in a collection, doesn't it? I think, with the muted tones of Star Wars.
Right.
The orange does pop out really nice.
It's really nice.
It's one of those things that really stands out. It's like the cloud car in Tony's background right now, right? You can see that that's your eyes drawn directly to that because it kind of really pops, and orange is one of those colors that really does stand out in the Star Wars.
It's interesting for you guys because everything they did with these costumes and with I feel like a lot of this stuff comes from like British. You know what I mean?
It's old army surplus.
Right.
Stuff.
It's
spoiler suits and stuff. Yeah.
It's crazy. So there's a lot of tie into that stuff, which is really cool for you guys too.
Definitely.
So they pulled from all kinds of things, but
I really like it. Yeah. And good luck to those who are getting it. It's an amazing statue.
I like it. I totally understand.
Price is definitely up there. Particularly when you see XM Luke going for half of what this is being sold for.
Yes.
I've seen XM Luke being sold 100%. For like $800, right?
100%.
That kind of, but then conversely, you're seeing all these other statue companies releasing quarter scale statues at this price point.
Yes.
So yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
The thing I keep thinking about XM Luke is
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the thing I keep thinking about XM Luke is I look at this, and again, we're looking at images, and even though we see it next to two people and next to Adam, you're getting an idea how big it is. But XM Luke is a hefty piece, right?
For sure.
Now, it's one of my pieces that's still out on display, but he's a little bit higher up. and he's a big piece. And this is the same, right? It's not like XM Luke is 1/3 scale. He's quarter scale.
Yeah,
So
right.
if this is quarter scale with the X-wing, I mean, this is like, you're right. This has to be absolutely massive.
For sure.
And the base too, and I
Yeah.
like that you can move the lights around or take them off. But it would be cool. Now, this is complete wishful thinking, right? This is theoretical. But if they kept some continuity with the line, maybe did like a TIE ball cockpit with a TIE fighter climbing into it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Something like that would be so
That'd be
cool.
cool.
That'd be
That'd
really cool.
Actually, just thinking about that, just in terms of if they could have executed it, they could have extended the X-wing out a little bit further and had an R2 unit. Just because,
Well,
You're right.
that's some people have said that, and I can understand that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
that's not out of the realm
Sure.
of like
That's not out of the realms. Even if it was just in there, right? And just the
Yes,
just the
and
dome.
some people have said that
and-
they just wanted more of it
Uh-huh.
so that they could put either a Luke or just
Yeah.
I get
If they
that.
had an R2, then the price would have been okay. You're getting two
yes,
characters.
I think,
yes.
I think that's cost. I think they probably had to just compromise a little
For
bit
sure.
on.
For sure.
on
I mean, if
things.
you've, got
hey,
the,
yeah.
if you've got the quarter scale R2 Sideshow one, you could just have that on the side next
Totally.
to it, really. Just
Yeah,
ready
Listen,
to be lifted up.
it's I will say it's probably I think it's probably for if not $300 or $400 over what it should be,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it was like 1,200, I think it would have been better. If it was like 1,000, it would have been much more well received, right? But I
Oh,
think also you've got to look at the
We got to look at the ES size as well. If it's low, Matt, then that value may.
right.
What is
I
the
wouldn't say
X-wing
it'll be
size?
worth it, but it will become more limited.
Well, and I think Tony,
What
you're
is the
right.
price?
And I think you have to look at the engineering on it. I think you have to look at what
Yeah.
the size is. Really, you have to look at all of it.
I mean, how we're in a hobby where none of this really is worth what we're
No,
sure.
really.
It's
we're
worth
in
yeah.
a market where prices are just going to continue to climb, and we're
Right.
comparing pieces. XM Luke back in the day was a very expensive statue, particularly for guys like me trying to get it in the UK. The market value of it now, I mean, that may reduce now with this piece coming out. I don't know, but I think if you've got the space,
Yeah.
and you're a light side fan, even if you've got XM Luke, like you have, Matt,
Yeah,
they would look great together. I think
they look so good
they would
together,
really
and
good.
and it comes down to that. Look, there's just not how many things are out there, guys. Like, there's just not that many things out there that have. I mean, look, even the XM Luke, he's in his Hoth. He's in his Hoth gear, right? Like, that's a little bit different than this, and so it's kind of a different piece even altogether, right? It's a little bit different, and so like you could definitely have both of these pieces, and it still makes total sense. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some people are saying Randall's saying it's very imaginative and centerpiece statue, which I agree.
Yeah.
Hazard Blue saying sculpt
agree.
looks good, looks so good too, which I think it does. I think it looks really
Yes,
nice.
unquestionably Luke, isn't it? It's for sure.
It is, right. And Stargeek says that premium format R2 would be
I-
perfect with this.
yeah.
piece.
You could just stick that next to it because it's free floating, isn't it? That R2, it doesn't peg into a stand. You can just put it right next to this, and I think that would make a really great display.
I mean, I think we mentioned it before we went live. The only thing that would be just slightly concerning would just be the paint, because that paint finish on that X-wing, and unlike that ladder, is superb.
It's amazing.
Quite clearly from that video, it's a prototype. It's hand painted.
Yeah.
How is it going to translate in the factory when it's done? Although, I mean, Sideshow pretty, so the translation from prototype to the finished piece on some of these Sideshow, on some of their statues, has been pretty damn close. I mean, certainly on some of the older,
Definitely got
older
better.
stuff.
And
I've had QC issues with Sideshow stuff.
I think it's low risk. I think it's going to be damn close to what you're seeing there. To be honest, yeah.
And Tony and Parma, I will say this. We talked about this backstage a little bit before we hopped on. Is I think they have to. I think Sideshow has to deliver at this point.
Sure.
There's too much competition. Right, Blitzway's they're getting competition from Blitzway, from PCS. I mean, PCS is third scale, so it's different, but they have to deliver because they've got to know. I mean, they got to know that people are frustrated. They're going to get frustrated, and they're going to be pissed at that Sideshow isn't putting out good shit when they can buy it overseas somewhere else or whatever. there's they have to do a killer job with this, in my opinion. There's no choice.
So it's
So
interesting. The edition size is to be determined. So I think
Right.
that's going to be based on how well the pre-sales do. So this could end up being a low number.
Yeah.
Right. And Sci-Fi Sam says even the helmet has asymmetrical Rebel logos like the real one.
It's one of those actually where you do, if you definitely want to get it, you want a low ES size, because
Right.
you know, the turn, if you did decide to punt it on in the future, I think this is just going to be one of these pieces that's probably going to go up in value. We're probably talking about this in a year's time, and there's probably 500-600 on this. You know, if it translates well when it comes out and it's as good as what we're seeing at the moment, there's no problems.
Well, and Tony, if it came out that if all of a sudden they put an ES size up and it was like 3,500 or some bullshit like that, then I would wait. I would wait to buy it. I wouldn't worry about when I bought it. I'd just be like, okay, I'll get it. I'll pick it up at some point because it's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah,
but
and it's going to be available from a ton of retailers as well. Right? It's not just Sideshow
Direct.
So
I think if it's 5 or 6. Yeah, I think if it's 500 or 600, I think that you know, the price becomes, you know, it gets a bit closer. I think personally, because it's more unique, be less people having it. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, sometimes you know, do you buy pieces because of the value, or you know, I think if you make that decision, are you really collecting for you know, as a collector for something you want to put in a display, or are you collecting because you want to push it on in, you know, in a few years?
Sure, yeah.
Sometimes you've just got to, you know, we all buy stuff that's overpriced. We've all done it. And I think with a piece like this, I understand where people are coming from, but look, it's not your average quarter scale statue. Just look at it there compared to, you know, it's huge.
Amazing.
It is huge.
You know,
I mean,
I initially didn't think the price was that high, but when I just looked up the, you know, to see what the edition size was, and the Mace Windu popped up as like, you know, not a companion piece per se, but like as a similar piece, and that's only $750. Like, this is literally double for a new quarter scale piece. And I get that there's the logistics and there's the X-wing aspect of it, but yeah, I mean, you're right. It's tough when people were justifying, you know, whether or not it's worth that much more. I was like, oh, what's the big deal? But then now seeing that most of the other previously released quarter scale figures are 800 or less, then yeah, I can see why it seems so high now.
Well, and it's again, I will be the first to tell you it's overpriced. It shouldn't be this much money. That said, I'm not the guy that looks at something and says it's overpriced, so I'm not going to buy it. I just don't I don't think that's a realistic way to look at it. Like, if you want this piece and it's something that's going to fit in your collection, and you have the money, you want to spend the money on this and not something else, then great. Like, is it overpriced? Yeah, it's probably overpriced.
What is the
I don't know what
price?
to tell you. You know,
What is the price?
We're in the wrong game if we're talking about value for money, I think.
Yeah. It's like 1,600, Nathan. It's like 15 or 1,600. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit. And so, you know, again, this is one of those things where you have to look at this and go, like, for me, if I were to buy this, well, then I probably won't buy maybe Old Ben from Blitzway. Right. And you have to really think about that. Let's say they came out with an Old Ben that's actually a Black Label version. Let's just say that they did. Well, I mean, which one is for me? Which one would I want to get? That's the tough part. And I think I was talking with PJ about that and saying that, like, this would be my preferred statue. I would rather have this version of Luke than I would Old Ben, because I like Old Ben, but he's not my favorite character necessarily, right? You know, so look,
they look good together though, Matt.
Yeah, they would look good together. But think about this. They're coming out with Luke. I could see them coming out with a freaking Han Solo in some really cool statue form, right? Like, yeah,
maybe at the ramp of the Falcon, for example.
I just think that they're going to make some more versions of these things, and not necessarily this big, but I think this is much better than I've seen them make something. I mean, some of the older stuff they made just didn't look good.
Sculpt is make or break, though, I think, with everything that Sideshow will have to do from now on, because that's what, you know, that if this could look like this, but if the sculpt was off, people would have been like, no, this
100%.
is terrible, right? And
100%. Now that said, Parm, the XM Luke statue,
Mhm.
that sculpt is not great. It looks like an anime version of Luke.
but the helmet on probably makes
But the helmet
helmet
on helps it all together, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. So it just depends on what you care about and what bothers you or not. Some people look at this statue and they all they see is this floating panel and they don't like it. I can understand that. I
like it. I
think it looks great.
Yeah.
Randall says, I think this is one of the first Sideshow's first statue that is over 1K.
Okay. Yeah, perhaps it is. Yeah.
It might
Yeah, I
be.
can see that.
I don't know about their I don't know about their other stuff. What's it called? Sorry, Tony. I don't know about their Marvel stuff.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
some of their Marvel stuff. I don't know if that's been over a 1K for them, but anyway, I love it. I'm excited. I can't get enough of it. I think I'm just every day I look at this thing, I'm like, holy shit, how am I gonna
Pull the trigger.
I'm not gonna pull the trigger. While we're on this video, I kind of want to jump to a couple more places. Obviously, this is another thing that was revealed.
Mhm.
This is the Wicket Premium Format. I wanted to just real quick get your guys' thoughts on this guy.
The first person I thought of when we saw this was you, Matt.
Yeah, of course.
But conversely, when I saw the pose and the facial expression, I thought maybe it's not really for you.
Am I wrong? Like I've said this to a couple people now, where it's like it doesn't feel like Wicket to me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I don't know why they chose this version of like an Ewok being
agreed.
like crazy.
That's not an 11-year-old boy in a costume in that one, is there?
No, and I'm wondering. I'm starting to wonder if because they didn't say much about this, right? They just kind of revealed it and said, "Oh, this."
It was a really quick reveal, wasn't it? It wasn't even teased much.
A quick reveal. They didn't really say much about it. I'm wondering, and I'm hoping. It's probably not the case. I'm hoping they have a different head sculpt and like a different arm where the stick or the whatever the spear is like kind of by his side, because they could do this. All they'd have to do is do a switch out for his arm and his head.
Yeah.
And you've got a different statue altogether.
Right,
where he's standing kind of more peaceful in a way.
And they could even have like because the way with his his cloth over his head, they could just have a faceplate almost, couldn't they?
They could. They don't usually do that with statues. They usually just change the head out. But that said, I don't think they're going to do this. By the way, I'm hoping that they do this because I really want a good Wicket.
It's just so far removed from the character, isn't it? I'm not a fan of it at all. I think did Atticus do something?
Yes,
with Wicket? I think that was a far better option. I think
he's also got a weird pose with his leg.
Yeah.
I do like the fact they've gone for the raised spear. Yeah, push that size up.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I mentioned this to Jason too. That when in Star Wars did we ever see them make this expression? They couldn't.
Well, they
couldn't really. They couldn't make that expression. So why are we doing this? Like, why is this a thing? I know it's on the video game. Maybe like it's like a video game version of this, like Star Wars Battlefront, where they had that mode.
But then I don't even think in that mode they were like that. You were just kind of.
You didn't
they
see
weren't being evil. They were just.
In the dark,
like they were in the film.
Right.
So.
No, they're supposed to be like teddy bears that kill people, right? Like that, that are like really kind-looking teddy bears that are freaking terrifying because they freaking kill you in a second, right? Like that's what's awesome about the Ewoks. And I know Ewoks aren't for everybody, and that's fine. But like, can we get just a decent Ewok? Like, whose arm do I have to snap off to freaking get an Ewok that I can put up?
Well,
like
Mr. Speeners, I think, Tom, Matt. So.
But even he won't make it.
Well,
freaking Regal Robot could make an amazing Ewok, and I can't get that guy to make it either. So it's just frustrating.
Well, I think we'll have two bites of that. I think he might, because I'm sure they'll make him a cat. The little maquette. I think that's probably the one we're going to get soonest, I think. But yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame with this. I mean, maybe they will have a switch out, but I'm not a fan of the pose. I think Jason's right. I think
I don't like
that leg that leg pose is a bit unfortunate, but yeah, it's just not. It's not
But
doing
Tony
it for me
and
this
Farm,
one.
you may be familiar with this. I was saying to Matt last week, Atticus, that makes some amazing pieces, made a beautiful Wicket.
Yeah, he mentioned that. Yeah, Tony mentioned that.
They really did. They did an amazing job on Wicket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to just search that one down. I don't know.
I think it's worth looking out for that one, Matt. I mean, quite often they come up still for good prices, and
it's really,
it would be a great placeholder if anything. If you wanted something for.
That one's what, one
decent size.
1/5? 1/5?
Yeah,
I think that's 150.
Yeah.
Roughly.
I think it was what I heard.
And for a couple $100, I think it's a good buy.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, just
while we're here, the other thing real quick, and Nathan, you can kind of give me an idea what you think of these guys.
These were fantastic.
I mean, look at that display, dude. Like, I mean, these things
Nathan,
are incredible.
Sorry?
Do you keep it Hot Toys only, or do you sprinkle in some Sideshow here?
I've got a few Sideshow. Got Hothan and a few random ones. Like if I don't mind going Sideshow if I've replaced a few older Sideshow things with Hot Toys when they've released them. But if Hot Toys aren't doing them, and Sideshow, I've ordered the Greedo.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have
They're fantastic.
often wondered it would be quite cool to have it was since when they released the Lando skiff guard, and I did think, it'd be quite cool to have a skiff guard like a skiff like Jabba's skiff display, because I've got Jedi Luke, and yeah, there's a couple on there, especially like. I know, obviously, like you guys always talk about all like the Canna toys and stuff like that, and obviously I was a lot late to it. But my personal first ones were like Phantom Menace ones, but I was given a lot of Return of the Jedi toys as well. So, and lots of my first ones were lots of the Jabba's. So
you had like the Weequay, the Klaatu, like
I had I can't remember their names now, but the guy that's on the far right, I had him, and the guy with the like yellowy green top,
Nick
him, yeah. And so those, if I was to get any, it would be those two. But it's just another.
Well, here's your problem, Nathan. Hazard says each of these Sideshow figures are over $300.
Here's your problem. Yeah.
Here's everybody's problem, right? But at that price, it's tough.
That's the issue, yeah.
It's a lot, and on top of that, what they're coming out with Jabba again, right? So what's that at? Is that like $800 or
It's 800?
Yeah, bumped up 1,000 now, 1,025.
Yeah, that's the.
I mean, I would like Jabba but then it's not like I can put Jabba in a detail, can I? So
no, that requires a dedicated display, doesn't it? I mean, a lot of people have displayed with a lot of the characters around him, and they look great. Han in carbonite in the back and stuff. You have great options.
That's the thing. It would be quite cool to have a sort of Jabba display, and then I could be like, I'll get like what's his face, the Jabba's second in command guy. What's his name?
Good fortune.
Bib Fortuna, yeah.
It looks really good too.
So he would be really cool. But yeah, I do like the idea of it, but as I've said before, I'm slowly running out of shelves. So yeah.
Well, and I told Jason too, and this is an interesting, different idea. Is all of these guys, or some of these guys, Tom's making maquettes for. Some of these guys too. You could pair them with the maquettes, and they would look really, really nice.
Definitely, yeah.
Just to get a representation of the character itself, right? With the concept, it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot you could do. It's not just 6-scale collectors that might want this, right? So,
No.
I don't know. It looks really good, dude. They look
It's
really, really nice.
fantastic.
I mean, geez,
Yeah,
guys.
the Barada with the one with the burgundy pants. That looks fantastic.
Mhm.
That looks really good.
Aim
I ju-
higher.
Well, they-
Aim higher.
I just think they all look fantastic, and I think it's really smart of Sideshow to do this because there just isn't
Well,
like
Well,
Hot Toys
goes
isn't
goes back
onto
goes
this.
back to what they did 10 years ago. You know, they
Yeah.
they were Gamorrean guards, Hammerhead.
Yep.
You know,
yeah,
it's
they
around
do
the
with the
time that,
aliens and stuff. It's kind of
yeah,
I just
Greedo.
think Hot Toys don't do that unless they're like a main character. You're not going to see these from Hot Toys, so
Yeah.
it is quite. The only issue because Sideshow, even some of their newer pieces, like they did the Clone Wars line, some of them are really good and some of them are not, and the bodies are still a bit iffy, and they were only last year or the year before. So I'm kind of. I said to myself, I'm going to wait till I get Greedo in hand and then decide whether I want to get any more of these other ones, and just decide then on whether it's a good
It's
quality
an
or not.
expensive photo, that though, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Yeah, for reals.
It's about
I mean,
£4 grand, isn't it?
That's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of money, dude.
Well, do you know? I think I put a picture. I couldn't. Do you know how wide Jabba is? Or
Don't.
Big. He's again. He's another piece I have up high, but I mean, he's at least two. Like the dais is about. You have to look up the dimensions, but it's large. It's
Couple
about
of feet, right?
a
Almost.
foot and a half wide.
There's
And
like,
he stands about close to a foot and a half tall.
dude, as wide as the dais and he is. I mean, they're displaying 5 figures. You know,
Three, four,
they're
five,
displaying
six,
this
seven,
one, this one, this one, this one, this one, pretty
Yeah.
much in front of that Jabba. Like, that's crazy. He's big.
yeah,
So I mean, as a display piece, it would look amazing, right? Like having this display piece in an area would look absolutely killer.
need to get that. There's a third-party slave Leia in a bikini.
Mhm.
Well, you'd have to get that if you got Jabba.
Well, and think about in the same area having. I think someone mentioned this, having the sail barge, right? Like near this. Who made the sail barge? Was it?
You mean the model?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
Hasbro that came out with.
Yeah, Hasbro, the HasLab one.
Yeah.
HasLab one. Yeah.
I mean, that was expensive too. But imagine if you had that and you could display that near this as well, and like, geez, you'd have a absolute. And then the Clothier's, that Clothier's with
His helmet.
Lando. Yeah.
the Lando helmet. Oh man, some absolutely
Good
killer
helmet.
pieces.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to talk about this because I think Sideshow kind of deserves their flowers with this one. They
I think this looks amazing. And a lot of us scale collectors were asking for this 5 years ago.
they killed it.
It's a big reveal, isn't it, for May the 4th, having all those characters all announced and showcased at once as well. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, imagine if Hot Toys did that. You know, I think people would have gone
Well,
crazy.
Do you guys remember when we went over one of our chats, the silhouette? They showed we saw
They did.
Bib, we saw Squidhead, we saw Bausch, but we didn't see Nico and Kato, and they weren't in there.
I can't remember exactly, but you're right. They did show a Bausch, didn't they? Which they haven't.
Yeah,
teased
Bausch,
yet.
Squidhead, and Bib were definitely in there. But all
That might
I
have
think
been
all
that might be a sign that Hot Toys are going to do a Bausch, right? And Hot Toys might have stepped in and said, "You're not doing another Bausch because we're going to do a Bausch." Perhaps. Again, I'm just speculating, and I'd like that to happen because if Hot Toys did a Bausch, I'd be very interested in
Well,
that.
I'm just thinking like what they're going to do because we had the first line which was the cantina, the aliens and stuff, and then this second line is all the Jabba's palace stuff. Is the third line going to be
an Ugnaught?
Like I'm trying to think what stuff from like Empire. So maybe
they could do all the Ewoks. Actually, that's another thing.
Ewoks,
they could do all like Chief Chirper and Logray and
So Hot Toys have only done Wicket, so
they've only done Wicket, and they messed up the headdress on that, didn't they, with the color? which is really annoying.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it was a bit darker.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
too
like
dark.
it's it is very cool to see. Like you said, like it's what Sideshow used to do back in the day.
Mm.
And if the bodies are good, then that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they need to
That'd
step
be-
up. I think if they can consistently do better bodies, then people will probably delve into this line a little bit more, because that tends to be the biggest sticking issue with collectors, and you know they
Well,
always complain
I
about the
was
flimsy
I was
bodies.
about to buy a Rebel Fleet Trooper for my Tantive display, and it's an old figure. It's like 2009 or something like that. But the body is just so like it looks like a doll, like an actual doll, like not
Yeah,
like
it was,
a
that was one
toy.
of their really early figures,
Yeah.
though, wasn't it? One of their, I think it was one of their first Star Wars figures, wasn't it?
Then I could sort of deal with it if it, the old like tailoring and stuff like that. If the body was just like decent,
Mm.
but I guess I could always buy a replacement.
That was the same. That was the same thing that was mentioned about a week ago when these drops are coming out. Someone said, "Yeah, they on the outside they look amazing, but you're gonna have the the janky Sideshow body on the inside." And then me and Matt had mentioned that old live stream with Cletus, where he opened the sideshow figure and just swung it across the room.
Yeah. No, I mean that's you never know with these things, but man, they look really good. If all
They
they're
do.
doing is standing there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
They look really good.
Mm.
Let's go to the next thing real quick. I'm gonna share this screen. Hold on one second. I think we were back to okay. Let's go here real quick. So obviously RS came out with their B-wing helmets.
Mm-hmm.
And they look absolutely beautiful. They are on the pricier side, I feel like. I could be wrong about that. Maybe there's a hell of a lot that goes into these, and Greeblies and all that stuff and are expensive, so it makes sense. But I wasn't expecting the price personally.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3 of them, right? 3 different versions. But man, they look really good. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, they do look good. Obviously lineage, they've got the production bucks for these, so that's always a plus. Obviously RS only really ever do lineage now, so and then they do spend a lot of time researching, and they have access to a lot of behind the scenes stuff from various sources, which allows them to make a pretty accurate replica. The B-wing helmet's a little bit niche, isn't it? Because we never saw the B-wing pilots on screen. You only really saw them in the briefing room where they had their helmets either under their arms, or I can't remember if anybody was actually wearing one. So it's hard to get a good picture of a helmet from the screen, from screenshots.
Right.
So you've only really got behind the scenes books and stuff where they've had various helmets, all the different kind of variants pictured. But conversely, again, I want to mention the Kenner figure, right? We remember there was a B-wing pilot, so there's a connection there.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we didn't see B-wing pilots on screen, it's still a formative character, and it's nice to give people options. I think with the different color schemes all at once, people can make a choice, choose what they prefer. For those with deep pockets, they can go for 3.
Some people are.
Some people are. But it gives people options, which is nice.
Man, that's a jeez, talk about expensive, man.
Oh yeah.
And none of these are signature editions either, right? So quite often their pricier helmets tend to be
have signatures,
right?
Yep.
And these aren't. So so that's a lot.
What are your thoughts, Tony?
Yeah, I think they look great. Like Palm said, they're it's going to be they've got a lineage buck, so there's going to be lineage there. I think a lot of because somebody was asking me, the differences between the the sort of hyperdrive exclusive and in this. And there are some, there are some differences. I mean, one of the things because I've got one of the hyperdrive exclusive helmets, and Frankie, who made it, has used some actual vintage parts on it. And I think with the RS one, I think that's going to be a bit more difficult for them to do, because they're making these in volume, so a lot of the parts will be cast. And there is, I think Palm noticed this actually, there is some slight differences in the bucks, and I think the one Frankie got was a 2-piece one off Prop Store, and then RS got a complete one, and they're obviously VAT form pieces, but the RS one actually looks a little thicker on the back, and but they're still lineage, and you've got to think these were VAT form back in the 80s, so I think that's just a slight difference in the in the molds. But I think I've seen people put the hyperdrive one up for sale, and I think it's fantastic. I wouldn't be, I'm probably going to hang on to mine, because it's it's that good. But you can't go wrong. You're talking, paper thin differences between them. There's probably some slight differences in the greeblies. I think a couple of parts were ID'd potentially after, one of the, I can't remember which one of the hyperdrive exclusives, but Frankie's been making the B-wing helmets for years, and I think he might have helped or given it a little bit of information to RS anyway. But they look great, I think if you're going for, I thought they were a little bit priced, probably £200 more than I was expecting.
Tony,
Yeah.
I thought because there were 3 of them, they would be priced a little bit less because there's 3 of them, right? Because they're making more of these things, and it might give people an opportunity to get more of them than just one. I was expecting somewhere around like 800 or 800 pounds or something like that. It's kind of what I was thinking. That's
what they are.
Oh, are they 800? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you're in dollars.
$800.
We're thinking about,
that's what I was thinking.
US buyers, after we pay the fee, the conversion and processing, it comes up to like 11, 20, 11.
Yeah, my bad.
That's where it gets expensive.
That's where it gets crazy expensive for us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. For people buying outside of the UK, I think I totally get it.
I just also wasn't expecting it to be the similar price to the AT-AT helmet. I thought it'd be a little less just because it's not as crazy, not as big of a helmet. It just doesn't have as much going on, but it does have a lot of greeblies to it, I guess. I know there's a lot to it. So I'm not saying I understand completely the whole thing. I just thought because there's 3 of them, they might be able to make that money up other ways, right? Like selling more of these things, getting people to buy multiples, all that kind of thing. So I just wasn't expecting it. But that said, they're beautiful. Like
they are.
RS.
But I do agree with Tony in saying that I've seen quite a few people post up the previous B-wing helmets, and as amazing of a job as RS does and is going to do, I don't know if it's enough to say, well, let me sell this in place of this. I just, the other ones look just as nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't sell. I wouldn't consider it an upgrade. And
yes, exactly.
There are differences. There are going to be differences because there's 2 different prop makers, but they're both fantastic offerings. You can't go wrong. But I wouldn't sell one to get another of the same color scheme. I just wouldn't do it. There's like I said on the one with the phone cable, for example, Frankie's used a 1960s vintage phone cable, but he's making smaller runs, so he's making he made like 20 helmets, so he was able to find actual vintage parts to put on there, whereas RS, they can't find, there probably isn't 150 1960s phone cables out there, so they're probably having to cast stuff or manufacture stuff slightly differently. I don't know, but I would be somebody. I've had a couple of messages from people, and you can't go wrong with either one. They're both lineage helmets. RS are the best at what they do. You know, it is, but there are
They're
certain
fantastic.
top makers out there that specialize. You know, there's a guy out there who specializes in A-wing helmets.
Yeah.
And Frankie does the B-wing, and he's put years into it. You know, so I just wouldn't be. I just thought you could see what, you know, certain collectors think. Oh, I'm going to upgrade, but I don't necessarily think it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's
Yeah, I
great.
don't think the need is there.
Yeah,
Tony,
I
how
think
much was the Hyperdrive exclusive?
it was a little bit. I think it was about £100 cheaper than the RS one, something like that.
Okay.
The first one, the Blue 2, was even cheaper than that. But that was released, you know, 3 years ago. So
Yeah.
you know, yeah. So I you know, different production techniques. It's a one man in his shed that's that was putting this together.
And you know, it's not, again, it's also not RS's fault that we get screwed on the
No,
money
it's not, no
thing. So
no.
it is what it is. And you know, we just have to deal with, that's something we just have to deal with. And so but yeah, it's a lot to get all three for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's great they've offered the 3 paint schemes, because there were people that really wanted the you know, the Blue 2 or the Blue 5. I love the fact that they've released the Blue Leader helmet. I think that looks great. I mean, it's a difficult choice if you've got to pick one, I guess. I mean, I can see why people, you know, if you've got the cash, they've jumped on them. But
yeah, you know what I would like to hear, Tony? I would have liked to have heard that these are pieces that, just like their X-Wings, you can hit them up and be like, hey, can you make me an X-Wing?
Yeah,
I would love that that was the same case with these B-Wing helmets, where it's like, hey, we're releasing these, but you can hit us up and ask us down the line if you want one of these. You know what I mean? That would be awesome.
My only thought on that is, you know, they've got, you know, they're still a small team, RS, aren't they? And they
Totally.
Their popularity has grown so much over the last 4 or 5 years. And, you know, they've got a couple of people painting, 3 or 4 platforming. There's only so many. I know what you're saying, but I think you know, that I think they're always at the limit, aren't they? Of when they do these runs, they're always running at a limit. I mean, you know, me and Palmer, you know, visited there, and we can see the operation, and you know how tightly it's run. And I know people get frustrated with delays and wait times, but it's tough. You know, it really.
Yeah.
And I think something like this. I don't think it's as complicated, perhaps, with the paint as, say, something like a Y-wing. But you've got all those greeblies, and I know what you're saying, Matt. I think it'd be great if you could hit them up and do that, but I'm not sure practically how they would, you know, be able to deliver it.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree. I hear what you're saying. Anyway, great job, RS. They're amazing pieces. They really are. They're beautiful, beautiful helmets, and people, and to anybody that got them, congrats. You know, you're gonna freaking love these things.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You know, and if you get multiples, or if you have the chest box to go with it, even better, right? It's awesome. Let's kind of move on. I know this is going to be Nathan's, you know, party time here, but I just wanted to touch on this real quick. I know that this wasn't, I don't know if this was a May the 4th release or if it was before that.
It was like the week before, I think, or like a few days before.
Yeah.
But before we move forward, am I mistaken? Didn't they already release a Palpatine just without the?
Yeah.
Like
That was
the
that was the Clone Wars one, wasn't it?
They did a Clone Wars one, which is
animated, based on the animated series.
Yeah, based on. But then they did do a Sidious, like a prequel Sidious as well. So, yeah, anyone who pre-ordered that, luckily that's not come out yet, so I don't really know why. And I'm glad I held off on both versions.
Because now you get two head, because this is swap out head, right?
This is the ultimate. I mean, obviously, I know not, but prequel-wise, this is the ultimate Palpatine.
Ultimate Palpatine.
Unlimited Palpatine. Yeah, so I'm very happy with myself for holding off on the other two because I sold my Return of the Jedi Palpatine a few months ago because I had in my head I was going to buy the Clone Wars one, and then
Yeah.
things got announced and space became an issue again, and I was like, I'll leave it for a bit, and then this one's been announced. I was like, I've got to make space. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but
It is nice that they have that non-shriveled scrotum face.
Yeah, because
the regular face.
I'd probably want to have.
I hate those faces though. They're
No,
horrible.
yeah.
Those faces.
I mean, I don't use them, but yeah, they're not for me. I'll probably have Palpatine and Mace Windu fighting, I guess, and that would have the non-shriveled face. Yeah, I'm pretty.
The likeness is great.
Really
it's
good.
spot on, yeah.
So now I see this pairing, but I thought the Dark Side Anakin that was just released, the exclusive was an Ahsoka version.
Well, yeah, I think it was, but so that's why people. Can you go back to the picture with Anakin, Matt? Because people are saying that people are like, "Oh, is this a different release? An even different one?" Because it's got slightly different color eyes to the other one, but I think it's
got to be the same one.
They've edited the picture. I think this is or maybe they put different eyes in the OG one. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think it was an Ahsoka one, but it kind of goes with Revenge of the Sith as well. The Anakin, but yeah, this
nailed his likeness, haven't they?
That's crazy.
This is one of the ones from the last sort of couple of weeks I'm going to be getting.
Yeah, it's nice. You get
This looks great.
You get some stuff with it, hands with it, and stuff too.
Do you have if you have a Mace Windu too? You can have them.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I think because I'm just going to have to find a spot. But yeah, I think I'm going to have them fighting in the office. Yeah. So.
Here's another one. I mean, we're gonna go through we're gonna spend 1,000 years on these damn hot toys.
No.
There's so many of
This
these.
looks great. I like this. This looks great. If you're a fan of like Malgus and Star Killer and these.
I mean, it's gonna look so good because I thankfully I'm not getting the Legends ones and stuff. But imagine if you got all those Legends Sith.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like together with Vader and Palpatine and stuff.
Yeah,
like
look good.
It would look so cool.
They'll probably release a Darth Bane then, you would think.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, he's not far behind.
This mask.
They even teased the white robe, the Jedi
Revan. Yeah.
Which why not? I mean, all they're doing is changing the cloth, so everything, all the tooling and everything else is there.
Gosh, the mask, they just the whole this figure.
It looks cool.
Great design.
Very cool.
Design.
This is stuff that 4 or 5 years ago we would have there's no way Hot Toys would make this, I mean, that would be making him would have been as crazy as them making like a Lobot,
Yeah.
Well, that's why custom statue makers made this shit. Because no one was gonna make this stuff
to feed that need.
Yeah, no one was gonna make it. And so I mean, obviously statue wise, I doubt Sideshow would still make any of this stuff. But that said, it's amazing that Hot Toys is getting into it. I mean, this thing in a normal pose or an action pose looks incredible.
Yeah.
You can do all kinds of stuff with this. So my guess is there's wires in this cloak, right? All over the place.
You'd have thought so.
I think so. Yeah,
gotta be in here. Gosh, that looks good. Wow. So that's Nihilus. This Nathan, is that something you'll get? Something you'll pick
probably
up?
Not. No. Well, no. Yeah, definitely not. I don't. Yeah. It's very cool. It's a very cool figure, but I haven't got any of the other ones. I was tempted with Revan, but it just didn't really fit with any of my other stuff, I guess. So yeah, thankfully, I'm not going for this.
Yeah, yeah, for real. There's a light side Revan that they're
Yeah.
using.
That looks cool.
Pretty sick.
I never ended up. I didn't pick up ribbon. I wasn't crazy about the way the cloth and the cape looked, but I
Hang
did.
the Hood was really bad.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about it, but I did get Star Killer, and he looks really good.
I mean,
This is
what
amazing.
it's
I'm
about.
sorry. This is amazing.
it's the best release they've come out with in years.
I can't fucking wait.
That's amazing.
Not only that,
No,
but they just did such a good job on
They
executing.
have done a great job.
Oh, it's just so cool.
no joint, no scenes.
It's amazing.
Swap out
Like-
the tongue, the eyes. Like they nailed this one.
Yeah.
Like like I was saying about the Palpatine, like I've not got space for this Jar Jar, but I'm gonna find space for this Jar Jar because
Oh, you have to.
I've
You
got
have to get this, Nathan. I mean, come on.
yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
And the sculpt is
Peter, what is
fantastic on this.
but yeah,
Pink-
like
yeah.
it's
Right there,
you know,
you take him, Nathan. You put him in that pose, and you bring him to work, and you put him on your workstation.
yeah. I don't know. It's
Sad.
but yeah, I'm thinking about just like buying other figures just to pair because I think I need a second Qui-Gon to go with Jar Jar because
That'd be great.
they've
Yeah.
got there's not really. I might get the droidica that's just been released to
Yeah.
so he can be fighting it with his.
There's not
boomers.
many from Phantom Menace, is there?
No,
From the Hot Toys
Thing,
line?
not to pair with Jar Jar. You've got
Well,
you've
just
got
generally, I
Maul-
think they didn't release too many.
Yeah, well, yeah, Maul, Qui-Gon, and yeah, no one. Yeah, there's no
That's
No
it.
Padme.
No young Obi-Wan, no Padme.
no
But
Yoda.
that's,
no-
that's what I feel like. Let me ask. That's the issue with some of these figures. Okay, so like, let's say you picked up Galen, or let's say you picked up Jar Jar, and you didn't have the other figures. It makes you potentially backtrack and get those other figures.
Yeah.
Well, like I was thinking about getting, like I said, either another Qui-Gon or a destroyer droid or something for him.
Do you have
to-
any of these little droid things right here? Like
I do, yeah. So it's yeah.
I mean, these would look great with him too.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think I'm probably gonna do something like that on the, at the end, the battle of
Mhm.
when on the Naboo plains.
Yep.
I'm probably gonna do that with him like falling over a destroyer droid or something. Which
very
is
well
yeah,
executed. I mean, I hate the character, but
I know. Like,
you can't.
I just think like you were talking earlier
help but
about
be
how
impressed.
things pop on a shelf. Like this
Yeah.
is gonna pop on
Yeah.
a shelf.
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah,
Like-
yeah.
It's yeah.
It's very well done. It's more than very well done. It's superb, really. It's very incredible.
It's so good, dude.
You got like wide ears as well, so you can like put his ears
Yep.
in.
I'm glad he's getting some love, to be honest, because I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
watched the new Light and Magic
Yeah,
show.
I did,
yeah.
I'm obsessed on that. That was
It's nice. Isn't
that
it?
was upsetting to see. What he went
Yeah.
through.
That was, wasn't it? Rob Coleman particularly was.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
quite emotional, really, wasn't
He was
it?
very emotional,
Really,
So-
really. Yeah.
I'm glad he's getting a lot of love now. It's cool.
Well,
Yeah. Hazard says, thankful Disney's letting Hot Toys make Legends figures. For sure, they'll do a limited Darth Jar Jar. That would be crazy.
That would be cool. But
Yeah, this
Darth-
thing, dude, they absolutely destroyed this thing, especially with the seamless arms.
yeah,
Very, very good that they went that direction. The swap out eyes,
yeah. I mean,
yeah. Different
it's amazing.
facial expressions.
And,
Yeah, it's great.
like it is kind of like that. That's what makes me think they might do a Darth Jar Jar because they've done this. Like we were saying earlier, with Sideshow normally does the aliens. They've constructed this new, completely different mold and completely different face and body and everything for one character. So it's like there's going to be an exclusive next year, May the 4th exclusive, Darth Jar Jar. There'll be some sort of exclusive. It'll be Darth Jar Jar.
You bring up a good point, actually, Nathan. This is probably the first full alien figure that Hot Toys have done in the Star Wars universe, right?
I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously you've had like
Well, they've done Yoda, haven't they?
Yeah, they've done Yoda, correct.
yeah. So then I guess we've got like but more like humanoid kind of aliens, like Hera and like
Yeah.
people like well
I
yeah.
mean,
There's not
Maul, I
really.
guess, as well as. But
But then
yeah,
he's a human, really. It's just a different
True.
sculpt. Where,
true.
and like even with Hera, like she's got like the Montrals and stuff, and Ahsoka has as well. But
Right.
they're still like a human face.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Whereas
And they're
this
using
is
a
like
half decent stand with this as well, not that awful tiered stand that they've been using.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is this? But isn't this the same stand they use for the Sand Troopers? Does it have Sand Trooper footprints?
Probably.
Oh yeah, has it got the footprints? Yeah,
That's lazy if they've done that.
So lazy.
Yeah, I yeah. That'd be, I don't know
Just
if we
don't-
could move in on that.
just don't put the footprints in there, then there wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they put. I think it was like I think they did it with like the battle droids, and they had footprints for battle droids. And it's like like human footprints, but for a
Just
battle droid.
put him on like the plains, right? Like put him on like a grassy plains.
So
Like
it's-
that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
It's just
Yes.
stupid.
They could have had
Yeah,
some. They used to do swap outs, didn't they? They used to give you little swap out.
yeah, like they're
That
all
was
like
different.
stickers. Yeah,
So they could have done something like that.
Yeah.
that's okay. I never use the bases anyway. I always just put them in my own thing. So
Fair
I'm
enough.
not too fussed about that. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
This
It
thing's
was
fantastic.
fine.
And this thing will also stand really well too. Like
Yeah.
you won't have any issues posing this thing because of his huge feet. So
Yeah.
yeah, really, really cool. I'm glad they're doing this.
Definitely.
This other one is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable that they're
Well,
coming out with this.
the timing's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's just unbelievable, man. I mean,
This one is so hard to
2017.
make out.
2017, they teased this guy.
Yeah. I'm glad they're doing it. Great looking
Brilliant,
figure.
brilliant. Yeah, it's the old Rebel flight suit. Can't go wrong with it. Great.
It is the
likeness as
10-year
well.
10-year
Absolutely
anniversary of
fantastic likeness.
Force Awakens, so that might be why they did it now.
Possible.
But, and also they got the people were saying like they maybe wanted to do it a while ago, but they got the Oscar Isaac's likeness for the Moon Knight figure.
Moon Knight.
They've nailed that likeness.
So
It looks amazing.
maybe they decided to do this, but it's pretty cool. Like 5 years ago, I would have got this, but I don't. I've only got Kylo and Rey. I don't have any other sequel.
Well,
So
again,
you're-
Nathan, this is the problem. This is the problem right here, is that maybe there's all these problems with them coming out with this before, but like now you come out with this and people don't have those figures, or they decided they're not going to make that many more of these figures. So why keep investing in this line? Like
This could look good with the First Order TIE Fighter pilot, because I thought that was a great looking figure. The
Yeah,
First
I
Order
was
TIE
gonna-
Fighter pilot.
I was going to say, Bob, all those people that were dumping off the stormtroopers. Suddenly, I could see the prices climbing on those.
Yeah,
Right?
but
Well,
just
£50
carrying the X-wing pilot and the
Stormtroopers.
TIE Fighter pilot would be perfect.
Yeah.
Now you got to pair him with Finn, surely.
I
You
think
could.
you could stand.
You
I
could.
think you could. I think that you could pair that. I know it sounds weird, but because he's in a flight suit, you could put this next to, I don't know, Snowspeeder Luke or something,
Yeah.
or X-wing Luke. I think you know.
Well,
I think
there's
it looked
room.
great, even on its own. I think it looked good.
It looks cool, yeah. I think I heard rumors that he's meant to be in the Ryan Gosling film.
oh really?
The
Is he like the
Yeah.
mentor?
That's why I was thinking why a random release, because they're coming out with what was it, Starfighter? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Starfighter, yeah. And it's
So
set,
it
like,
makes
a year after
sense now. I mean, they would have the end, they would have the know. So it makes sense that he would be released 11 years or 9 years later, or whatever it is.
And people were speculating as well because he was meant to be at Celebration and he cancelled like last minute apparently.
Mm.
And
I didn't know
that's
that.
why they showed like they had, because Ahmed Best was there, so the Jar Jar, they had certain figures for specific actors that were going to be there, and then I don't know, it was, I guess that's why they showed it off. But
Hmm.
I always think, do they show these things off and then see what reception it gets and then decide if they want to release it? Or
Not sure. They probably already have a schedule kind of pre-planned well beforehand. So it was probably time for that.
I mean, this is without exaggeration. When they first teased this figure, a person could have been in high school and can now be married and have a child.
Yeah.
That's reality.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and your entire collection can go from Hot Toys to something completely different.
Oh, in 10 years.
In that
You can
span of
sell
time.
all your Hot Toys,
Yeah.
You know, it's that's the thing, man. It's crazy, dude.
Like
I hope this as well. It's a great figure. I think you know.
Great figure.
I think
Randall makes a great comment. He looks amazing. He does, but has too much time passed.
Yeah.
Now that question comes into play where if it's in relation to The Force Awakens, yes. I don't know, right? Depending on the collector, very subjective. But if it pertains to the new upcoming movie, then no, I think it's perfect timing.
Yeah.
Well, also the other way of looking at it is that we say too much time has passed, but you know they're releasing figures from films that were 40 years ago, or whatever. But then they're like you said, Matt, like you said, that they could be. There's someone that could be married now after this figure was teased, but this could be someone that was maybe like 14 or something when like this film came out, and they were the generation, or like they were like a 10-year-old or something, and now they're 20 years old and they're earning money. They could have been from that generation that loved The Force Awakens.
Well, 100%. Look,
and now it's coming back around.
It will. As ridiculous as someone it might sound, as I've said it before, I still believe it. Time is the thing that benefits of everything, but also Star Wars, right?
Well,
like the prequels did the same thing.
Yeah, well, we saw on that Tony was just talking about the Light and Magic series.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ahmed Best says that George Lucas said in 10 years' time it'll be. You know, that's why I love Jar Jar and none of you guys do.
Sure.
I like Jar Jar, but yes, I hear what you're saying.
But like it's I know that Jar Jar's annoying, but it's nostalgia for me.
Sure.
But and it's like you guys with like Ewoks and stuff.
The older generation when Jedi came out absolutely hated the Ewoks.
Right.
Yeah.
And those that were younger, they loved them. So yeah.
And then it'll be the same for like I don't know the Porgs or something from the sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the giant thing he drinks milk from.
Well,
whatever the hell
I
that
wouldn't
is.
go that far, but
you know what I'm saying? Like it will those things
it's nostalgia.
Those things come around. They'll come back around and people will go, I don't understand it. And they, you know, it just is what it is. So yeah, I mean it's crazy, but I do think
it's a great looking figure.
It is a great looking figure. It really is. I'm a pretty big fan of Force Awakens. I really like that movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I like Poe as well.
What followed?
Yeah, what followed wasn't the best, but like, still, it's
a great flight suit too.
Yeah,
yeah, it is. It is. I think some of those designs actually, certainly from the Force Awakens, I thought were really cool, and this was probably the best. I think it really does tie into the old, but you can see how it's been sort of developed. I like the X-wing as well. I thought that was subtly done.
Yeah,
there are some great designs, in the sequels, but just got lost a little bit in a bit of the mess that was the storyline. But I mean, like I said, we've said it just there. We got their kids now that are grown up probably love, saw things in the sequels that we don't, because we got aged eyes looking at it. So
right.
But yeah, it's a great release.
I was just going to say, there's people who've probably got the Black Series helmet as well that they could pair this.
Or the Anovos. Didn't Anovos make this helmet too?
Didn't they? I think Anovos released a helmet.
Anovos did as well. Yeah. I had the Black Series at one point when the hype of Force Awakens was out. I bought the Black Series helmet. I obviously sold it, but it was a pretty good helmet actually.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it actually was.
Yeah,
I think the Anovos one was pretty freaking heavy and it was
yeah, solid.
Yeah,
really nice. Yeah,
big helmet. I mean, guys, that's what I have. Is there anything else that you guys? I know there's other stuff, right? There's the mouse droid.
Mouse is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, yeah, hefty,
It
but
is.
great value for money.
Yeah, a bunch of people jumped on
Fun
that.
piece. Fun piece.
It is a fun piece. Yeah, it's really cool.
I jumped on one just for the sake of it, you know, just to,
Right.
you know, it's not a lot to punt, right? And you just think that'd be a bit of fun to.
It's really cool.
Scoot it around the house.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's that. I know EFX came out with the Kylo Ren hilt. I believe. No signature. And then otherwise, I'm just trying to. I don't know if there's any other stuff that you guys wanted to chat about.
Trying to think. You guys have spoken about the Blitzway Obi-Wan Kenobi, I guess. I mean,
we've talked about it. They haven't shown a whole lot.
They haven't shown a lot. We've only seen what was teased. But that looks interesting. It looks worrying as well, because if they start a line of original trilogy, you know.
So do you guys think this is going to be like? I was thinking if they got the license, they're gonna utilize it. So, but again, I mean, these are larger pieces. You guys think they're going to go deep with this or what?
I don't know, man. I mean, it makes sense for them to go deep. Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know, isn't probably the first character I'd think of, you know, Alec Guinness, let's say, you know, to do from the original trilogy. You'd think they would have gone with a Luke or a Han or a Leia, right? They didn't. So because they didn't, suggest that they're gonna at some point, and they're holding back. But then they could do, you know, the problem with the Star Wars line is there's just so many characters, right? You got stormtroopers, you got the droids, you got Chewbacca, you got Vader. Where does it stop?
Do you think they went for Obi-Wan because obviously the first two they did were Anakin and young Obi-Wan, and they wanted to carry on with the Jedis? And
perhaps, yeah, because they've teased Vader, right? So it could be that it's going to be a New Hope Vader and Obi-Wan is the next release, and maybe that's the way they released them. They released them as pairs to kind of you know, entice collectors to buy both, right?
R2 and 3PO, Han and Leia, that would be amazing.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Or Han and Chewie, right? Imagine Chewbacca in there.
Wow, imagine seeing Chewie. Now the only thing though, and I know me and Matt have been hashing this out quite a bit, is they don't just have like magnetic swap outs like a regular statue.
No, they got posable arms.
It was like movable, and it's like, is this going to be more like a giant hot toy with a sculpted head? Is this going to be? So it's going to be interesting to see what the final piece is and what people think of it in the end. But they look amazing so far. They do. They look fantastic.
Movable limbs bring QC concerns to me, you know, like frozen joints or loose joints and stuff like that. I mean, hopefully they execute it pretty well, right? But
I'm not super worried about that as much as I am worried about. I just don't want to buy it. I don't want to buy a figure. I'm not buying this because it's a figure. I'm buying it because it's a statue, and I want. Here's the thing. What they're gonna. If you think about it, because it's a bit of a posable situation,
it's very limited though, the articulation, isn't it? It's almost like you're in two positions.
It is very limited.
It's almost like a switch out.
It's very limited, but you've got to think that they're not going to do anything very dynamic, which is probably a good thing in terms of like what we want. Like I kind of more want museum style statues of these characters, and so it is a good thing.
Maybe it was a stipulation of the license. Maybe it's because Sideshow has the quarter scale license.
Yeah.
Maybe like, listen, you got to do something different if you want the license.
Right.
Maybe that's what it was. Who knows?
It's possible. I just think, again, I think the good thing about this is I think it makes Sideshow step back and go, shit, we got to really do some quality here. You know, they can't just do the same bullshit that they've done before and get away with it. So. I think their likenesses have to be spot on. I think they have to do really a good job with the cut and sew, with all those stuff around it, which maybe that's the argument that they've, I don't want to see Sideshow make 10 floating Star Wars statues. You know what I'm saying?
No.
They've started doing floating stuff quite a lot, haven't they? I think it seems to be a thing in their design team, I think. But I agree, Matt. I think they are under some pressure. I think, that's why, I think they maybe they pushed that Luke forward a little bit. May the 4th, it's a prototype, wasn't it? Not a finished piece or ready for production, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's a great, if you're into that size, quarter scale, it's a great time, I think, to be a Star Wars fan. I think I'm really interested to see Blitzway's Anakin. I think I'm assuming that's going to be the first one to be released. I'm really intrigued to see.
I am too.
Because it could be a game changer in terms of, a step up in quality, and it certainly looks it, doesn't it?
Aren't you getting it, Matt?
I am, yeah. We'll do an unboxing. Yeah. We'll do an unboxing on the channel, and just kind of talk through how we feel about it. And I'm sure it'll be amazing. I'm sure it'll be really incredible. I got the black label version. I think Jason got the regular version with Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Both are going to be great, I think. And I think that'll give us a good idea of what should we expect with the rest of the line, right? Which is great. I think that's kind of what I'm waiting for. I don't really want to jump, head first into this and
without knowing what you're getting.
Yeah, without knowing what we're getting into.
Yeah.
What is the ETA on your statues then? Is it like end of the year or?
I think so.
Okay, so there's still some time.
There's still a little bit of time.
Put the Obi-Wan Kenobi up for pre-order before people have the others in hand, so we won't really get a great idea of what they're like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Randall says those Blitzway statues look interesting, and also the Mythos Obi-Wan has started to ship, which that looks great, by the way.
Scale one, right?
Yeah, that Mythos piece is freaking beautiful.
They've done a good job on that, haven't they?
And that's what I'm saying. I think at this point there's enough evidence to show that Sideshow's doing better with their Star Wars line and really kind of killing it a little bit, which gives me more confidence for the Luke, right? And some of the other stuff that they might come out with in the future. I think they have to step up the quality. They have to. There's too much out there now that's really, really good quality. They have to step it up. So it's my opinion. I don't know what else. Like there's I'm sure there's going to be other things that come up. We'll do another one of these, not next week, but the week after probably. And, hopefully save some stuff for then. But, we just wanted to kind of recap some of the bigger things that we saw come out, that we saw released with May the 4th. And, obviously Jason and I had talked about it. We wanted to get your guys' opinion. And I appreciate you guys coming on and taking the time.
Thanks for
really appreciate it. So everyone in the chat, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all your time as well, and for any comments, and we appreciate you. And we'll be back. Yeah, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. We'll be doing some product spotlights and some other things coming up. So keep an eye out there. I think that's going to be it.